Good morning. This lesson is from our Trig-Precalc class, but before I get started, I want to say I hope everyone is doing all right out there. I believe this is for Chapter 5, Lesson 3. I don't know. I'll title it correctly in the title of the video. But what is important are our goals. So our first goal is defining sine and cosine angle sum formulas. And our second goal is using the formulas to find new coordinates on the unit circle. So the last lesson that we did, it was just more of a story on how we got to these formulas and how to properly add angles for sine functions. We didn't talk about cosine functions. We will at some point if we have time. But I wanted you guys to see that formulas do come from somewhere. So hopefully you have some understanding that this formula was created by adding two angles together by putting two triangles on top of each other and then finding how tall how tall the height was for our sine and how far over it was for our cosine. So here is our first goal. Sine of x plus y is equal to sine of x times cosine of y plus sine of y times cosine of x. That's my angle sum formula for sine. My angle sum formula for cosine is cosine of x plus y is equal to cosine of x plus cosine of y minus sine of x times sine of y. First goal done. That was pretty easy. On to our second goal. Using the formulas to find new coordinates on the unit circle. And here we go. So I would like to find sine of 75 and cosine of 75. I want basically the y coordinate at 75 degrees and the x coordinate at 75 degrees. But I don't know an x or y coordinate or an x coordinate at 75 degrees. But I do know that I can rewrite 75 using measurements that I know. So sine of 75 degrees, that's equal to sine of 45 degrees plus 30 degrees. All right, so I now have this. So I can now replace this with this. So this will become, let's see here, this is my x, and I'll just make sure I label that so I can follow the formula. So I have sine of 45 degrees times, or my y coordinate at 45 degrees, times my x coordinate at 30 degrees, plus my y coordinate at 30 degrees, times my x coordinate at 45 degrees. Now, remember our unit circle that sine of 45, the y coordinate, is going to be square root of 2 over 2. My x coordinate at 30 degrees is going to be square root of 3 over 2. And I'm going to add that to my y coordinate at 30 degrees, which is 1/2, times my x coordinate at 45 degrees, which is square root of 2 over 2. Now, I didn't review this with you, but hopefully you guys remember that if two numbers are in a square root, you can multiply them together, and we also have to multiply the denominators. So I'm going to get the square root of 6 divided by 4. I'm going to add that to 1 times the square root of 2, that's square root of 2, and 2 times 2, that's 4. These are good fractions because they have the same denominator, so I can add them together. Do I know what the square root of 6 plus the square root of 4 is? Nope. But I can write it like this. Square root of 6 plus square root of 2, square root of 2, yes, square root of 2 all over 4. That is my y coordinate at 75 degrees. Now I'm going to find my x coordinate at 75 degrees. Here we go. Let's see here. I'm going to follow the formula. So again, like before, I know that I can rewrite 75 degrees using these two angles. So it'll be cosine of 75 degrees, and that's equal to the cosine of 45 degrees plus 30 degrees. Oh, inside, not outside. There we go. And I'll just label this as my x, and I'll label that as my y, so that I can keep track using my formula. And let's see here. So it's cosine of 45 times the cosine of 30 minus the sine of 45 times the sine of 30. Now, the x value at 45 degrees, that's square root of 2 over 2. The x value at 30 degrees is square root of 3 over 2. And I'm going to subtract that from the y value at 45 degrees, which is square root of 2 over 2, times the y value at 30 degrees, which is 1/2. All right? And I get square root of 6 over 4. Again, I multiply these together, and I multiply these together, minus square root of 2 times 1 is square root of 2. 2 times 2, that's 4. And I have the same denominator, which we're always going to have in these problems, and I get the x-coordinate at 75 degrees is square root of 6 minus square root of 2, all divided by 4. And that is today's lesson, using the formulas that were created by adding two triangles together on the unit circle. Hopefully this makes sense to you. I think it's a pretty simple lesson. Hopefully we don't have too many problems with this one. I'm going to go ahead and end this right here. This was more procedural than anything else. So again, I hope everybody is doing okay out there. Have a good day, everybody. Bye-bye.